Hello everyone, it's Unfit here, and before we jump right into the episode itself, there is something that I actually want to put as a little bit of a disclaimer. This particular episode was recorded in December 14th, before all the drama that is part of today's topic, so if you're interested in it, you are more than welcome to still listen. It's still an excellent episode, and we really enjoyed making it. Just to tell you about that, this was recorded a little while back, so you wouldn't be thrown off the why we're actually just only know about these things now. With that out of the way, hope you enjoy, and let's jump right into the episode. Hello and welcome to another episode in the lovely podcast called Unfit and Unharm. Hello, I'm Unfit, and this is my co-host, Unharm. How are you doing today?
I thought we agreed that we're rebranding to the Unharm and Unfit.
No.
Ah,
Never.
so how you've been
You're
doing?
the weak one. You're the weak one. I'm the one with the 5,200 subscribers. You're just the weak one with the measly 13. No. It's going to take a while.
Man, I just had a video come out with Shadow Beats. He has like 600,000 subscribers,
So?
man. Okay.
So.
Anyways, so today we have a lot of interesting topics to talk about. We have a lot of them made. We really have a lot on our minds because after all, the channel was originally a D&D channel, and there is a little bit of D&D stuff to talk about, is there not?
Yes. Not D&D things that happened in this channel. Other stuff.
Other things.
Which makes me even further more not interested in D&D even further. Not saying it's a bad game, it just makes me more not interested in the game.
Well, yes and no. I'll explain a little bit what Unfit is meaning when he says that stuff. So, Unfit and we both have played D&D for many years, and we've had many experiences, some good, some bad. It's all, it's all behind us. However, last April, the D&D company sold out to Wizards of the Coast. They bought out with the entire D&D franchise, and with that comes a lot of and a lot of and you understand what I mean by that. The first, yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a second. The first that I want to talk about, actually, before we go to the second that's even more interesting. The first is a while ago, like a month or two ago, I actually made a little video about this on my own channel. They decided to start working on a D&D movie. Did you know that?
I know that one, yes.
And do you agree with me that that's like the entire idea of having a D&D movie?
The idea of a D&D movie is not a bad idea, like, the concept of the story, but it doesn't need to have the D&D thing so much embedded into it. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like they're trying to kind of like promote a single campaign.
It feels to me like they're trying to monetize on the name D&D without realizing that the moment you give it a official story, you lose most of the people from even liking the franchise. Like, they'll just call it something else.
The point of the D&D entirely is that every experience, every single time you're doing the same campaign, and even with the same DM, it's always could be different characters, different people, even with the same characters, they can act differently, different things to do. Like, I'm not saying, like, if you're doing all the scenarios over and over again, you're just not exhausting the entire, experience, but there's still so many things that you can do with the experience over and over again if you change a little bit of factors. And now giving it, actual actors and, a fixed kind of, story, it's just going to make it that people are going to create a story based around the fixed story and the fixed characters, and now it just takes some of the charm off, in my opinion.
Right. So that was the first So when I say that it's nobody's going to care about the movie. It's just like when they made Resident Evil movies. Nobody cared about the movies. Everybody cares about the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know about that one. I'm just trying to keep with the
Yeah. But once again, that is forgivable. Making a movie is forgivable compared to the next two things actually that they're planning on doing. And the first one is they're going to try to monetize D&D. And
Oh, lovely. I heard about that one.
And actually, a lot of people haven't heard about this because it's basically only in very few places at the moment, because we're recording this in mid-December, and only like very few people are talking about this at the moment, which I find crazy. But because D&D is still a beloved franchise.
But...
And the way that they're planning on doing it is basically turning it into a digital... giving it like a digital... a digital face, like making a website and having people pay for cosmetics and add-ons and stuff like that, and that ruins the entire idea behind D&D at like forever.
Obviously,
because the first thing that made people like D&D was the game is in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, when people are playing the game, they don't want to visualize a troll coming down from a mountain, slaying an orc, and battling a warlock. That is something that you just want to see in your mind. Like, the moment you watch it, like, in some crappy graphics with UI that's all, messed up, you're just going to ruin the experience. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because all this comes in the news when Wizards of the Coast has just had, when we actually spoke about this in the previous episode of the podcast, after Wizards of the Coast have bombed with everything they've been doing with Magic the Gathering. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Magic the Gathering. Like, it looks like Wizard of the Coast is just... I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but it looks like they're burning their company to the ground. For some reason.
Yeah, you're right. But it feels to me more like Wizards of the Coast thinks that they have more than they actually do. Because as you both know, myself and Unfit here, we're both big on card games. We both know the value of releasing sets. If you do it all the time, you water down the value of every other set that you've been printing beforehand, and you're basically creating an art card, and you're not making a game card. And if you want to be an art card, that's cool. There are plenty of them.
It's completely fine, and it's also just a thing that you can do for fun.
Fun fact: we're not sponsored by them. This is not even a shout out. This is just me telling you. There's a company called Weiss Schwartz. Have you ever heard of them?
Okay.
Who their entire shtick is to make card games. Well, there is technically a game to it, but nobody, I've never heard of anybody play with the card game itself, of anime and stuff like that, and you're buying it for the art. Like, you buy the art, and you're more looking at the art, and there's like half a line on the bottom that tells you what the card is supposed to do if it has a game behind it. So, and let me tell you something, that is pretty cool in my eyes.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, and if that's what you're all about, that's great. But Magic the Gathering is all about the game. It's a very fun game. It has millions and millions of fans, and then you come out week after week, and you basically made 15 sets in like a year. All of these sets are full of like nothing cards. Like, you have a lot of. I watched.
The guy.
Who was it?
Yeah,
It wasn't the professor. No. No, this is someone else. I watched someone else like talk about a couple of sets. They said there are 0 cards in here that are worth value, because that within 4 days another set comes out with another card that basically depowers that card, even though it's only going to be good for 4 days. And nobody in their right mind is going to spend $250 to buy 6 cards that are going to be good for only 4 days.
Anymore, because we already just talked about it a whole lot, and we're just going to go into it way too much.
You're right. You're right.
No, I will add and say, just
I'm done.
That it could be that you're releasing too much sets, or also the bad option that you just don't release enough sets or enough reprint set, and you also just release as much as power creep as possible, which is that's what's happening with Yu-Gi-Oh. But again, we talked about it. It's just not really a thing I want to talk about anymore.
Just a little bit of a taste of last week's episode. We're sorry, folks, but anyways, coming back to the D&D, what they're trying to, what they're trying to do, yeah, what they're trying to do is basically monetize something that people already have for free. Like, everybody have all the PDFs on pretty much their like, this isn't stealing from Wizards of the Coast, because D&D is a very... It was an open source game for years. People had the PDFs. People know how to play the game. They don't need to buy an account so that they can play with their friends on a server, because that two things. One, we already have Discord. Discord is free. We have Google Docs. Google Docs is also free. And three, nobody...
Roll20 is also kind of free. I mean, if you want some assets, it's for money, but for now, it's free for the rest of them.
Yeah, and basically everything that Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast are thinking of doing is trying to find a way to make more money, even though they don't have anything. It's just going to fail. This is 100% going to fail.
Hasbro is basically Mr. Krabs. Now.
No. Mr. Krabs is offering food. You know, he has something of value. They're more like the Chum Bucket. No, just kidding.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I just thought that this is just such a... You know when you're watching a building burn and there's nothing you can do about it? And all the goods that are in it are just going to burn away because they're all in the building that's full of very dry wood and nobody did anything to save this building. This is what it feels like to me watching this entire event just crumble down. You know what I mean?
Very interesting.
Yeah. And from this, if we're already talking, I said this like a New Jerseyan. If we're already talking about Wizards of the Coast and D&D, let's talk about one of the changes that they want to make to the game. Did you see? Did you see what was one of the changes that they're trying to make to the game?
Nope, I didn't really focus on it that much.
So they're trying to remove the term race.
Why?
From D&D, and that's pretty much that's like, okay. So going back to the term that they're trying to remove, the term race from the game. And that's the entire shtick of the whole franchise. The fact that you can be many different races. You can be an elf, you can be a goblin, you can be a half shark, half fairy. I don't know. You can pick whatever you want and play with it. And that's the whole fun behind D&D. Otherwise, it's just another game. And they're going to try to removing that term is not going to do anything. It's a very... I'm not political, but it's a very woke thing to do. I just feel like
you're trying to be politically correct in
why
everything.
Would you do this?
It's just so stupid and dumb.
Like, the people who play this game don't give a two shits about if you are... if you're a racist or anything else, because you're basically just there imagining yourself going on a journey that the DM is making, you know? I just find it just so disheartening to see them continuously to burn the house that they live in, because they're already going to lose. They're going to lose a lot of people who are fans of the franchises.
They're going to lose a lot of players. No joke.
They're going to lose a lot of official players. They're not going to lose any players. The game itself has become more of a public domain. It's just people are not going to care about this official domain because Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast feel so disconnected from the people who are buying and using their products. They're making a movie that nobody cares about. They're making changes to a game that nobody wants, and they're trying to monetize the game through an online client that won't do anything, because every dungeon master likes to imagine things his own way. And how are you supposed to customize a game in a very uncustomizable fashion? Because the best they can do is offer to make maps. Is the only thing I can see. And you know what you need to make maps? paint. You can literally make good maps with paint. You don't need to pay $5.99 a month in order to play a game. Because, mark my words, it's going to be a subscription.
This is ridiculous.
It's just so absurd. And it just feels like every single time that they try to do something cool, they just end up doing something bad. Now, if they made a official map making what's it called? If they made a free map making client where, let's say, you know, you want to be registered as a official DM from Wizards of the Coast and be able to make free maps, that would be a cool initiative that would get everybody just wanting to work with them. It doesn't even have to be free. It can be $3 for access for it for life. You know what I mean? Like, for $3 to make a official good graphic map making for your D&D needs, maybe I can see some people buying that, you know? But trying to monetize it, like, with transactions, and there's going to be microtransactions, there's going to be subscriptions, there's going to be fees, they're going to have so many useless things that we already have for free. If you're not going to give us something for free, like, we're not going to use it.
Okay, I'm going to say this. The reason why D&D 3.5 was so successful is because people will just love that version and expanded on it. The reason why 4 wasn't successful because they tried to make this into a video game, which is, yeah. And then the reason why 5 was so successful because it was simple, easy to understand, and also on top of that, it was free-ish. It was possible to kind of just play it and, like, just expand on it really, really easily.
Yeah, from what I heard, a lot of players are still playing by D&D 2.0 rules. Like, that's like the more common thing that I see around. Why is 2.0 so popular?
Because it's a good version of the game that people really, really like.
Oh, that's the best version? I thought that 3.5 was.
I don't think that it's the best version, but it's the version that people really enjoy.
You're right. You're right. Well, if it's a version that people enjoy, then maybe it is the most popular one.
I don't remember what classes version 2 had, but I remember version 1 had like only 2 or 3 classes.
Well, speaking of Wizards of the Coast and you know, and the D&D stuff and the movies, have you seen what movie just came out? What trailer just came out yesterday?
Out yesterday. I thought the movie, D&D movie yesterday, like, didn't come out yesterday. It came out for a little bit of a while ago.
No. Something else.
The movie that Sony wanted to kind of divide into, but then decided not to. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another Spider-Man movie coming out, and it's like from the Spider-Verse. With Miles Morales. I'm a huge Miles Morales fan. I read the comic books where Peter Parker dies. There are 2 versions of it where he dies and Miles Morales becomes
Spider-Man,
the next Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
And it's Spooderman, it's Spooderman, and it always comes down to Miles Morales. Basically, the reason why Miles Morales was so successful while Ironheart and pretty much every other sidekick or replacement was so not successful was because that they basically made Miles Morales' story work, and he basically feels like an emotional clone of Spider-Man, while every other clone just doesn't feel like an emotional clone.
What's
you know
happening?
What I mean?
And like Marvel just ruins everything that it touches now because they're trying to be politically correct. But Spider-Man,
but Spider-Man is doing well.
So
Spider-Man, even I'll say this, and I've said this before: every Marvel movie feels like a direct copy paste since Avengers, except for the Spider-Man movies. Like the ones that are in the MCU still felt fresh to me, and the last one, No Way Home, felt so amazing to me. Like the last 10 minutes made
it was a good one. It was a good one. I mean, there are some plot holes which are not going to get into it that they tried to fix in later variations and post edits with the how people will not remember him anymore.
Who cares?
But it just was a good, like, even if it's just like a big marketing thing, just to kind of like, you know, finish the, I don't know what year of anniversary for Spider-Man it was supposed to be, or like, you know, just like kind of just lean people back into the story. It just still was a really, 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 really well written story, and just a nice love letter to the series as an overall. And I hope they will not bring him back and ruin the entire concept, because it's just a great idea. What they're doing.
Yeah, because it's Spider-Man. I think it's okay to mention, you know, a Spider-Man, but like not make him a part of, like, you know, the Avengers and stuff like that.
Yep, that's the point. That's what people wanted. They wanted him to return to be a street level hero, like it's supposed to be. Like,
it's not just that. It's not just that. One of the things that made me personally love Spider-Man so much is the fact that Spider-Man in general is a loser, and that's a good thing, because that he doesn't get things handed to him. He has to work his hardest to, you know, keep all the promises that he made in his past to obviously a lot of dead people, but it matters to him. He doesn't get a break.
Yep.
Like every other person, every other superhero, I don't care who, gets a million breaks. Everybody.
He's really just doesn't really ever get a break, which is poor dude.
Poor dude, but like that's what makes him so interesting to me. Like he's the only one who has to work for it. And the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer looks amazing, because that it's
basically Miles versus Spider-Man 2 2999, basically. It feels like it. At least from the trailer. I don't know what the full story, but that's what it feels like.
You know what? I don't think that's the whole story, but we'll find out. And Spider-Man 2099...
That's the trailer story now.
Yeah, okay.
Also, did they keep the story, like, you know, combined into, like, you know, a full story, or they decide to divide it again? Like, I thought, like, back in the day, like, when we seen the first teaser, they said it's going to be 2-part movie, or, you know, a movie, like, break it into 2, but now it doesn't say, oh, Into the Spider-Verse Part 1.
I have no clue.
What are they doing with this?
I have no clue.
But God, it took it so long to come out.
Yeah, but the artwork, man, the artwork of Spider-Man, it just the artwork that they did Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse now, it looks so good. Like, you know, that's a unique art style, right?
Yep.
If we're already talking about movies again, then let's talk about, you know, Ruby. You know?
Ruby, you were so promising. God, that series. It was such a promising series.
Yeah.
But then Monty unfortunately passed, and everything has just burning like a freaking dumpster fire ever since.
Right.
I mean, it didn't seem that much at the start, and a lot of people like to just like say that Volume 4 is bad, but Volume 4 was complete and utter, like, you know, like fine compared to the utter mess that came out later. And a lot of people like to just call Volume 4 bad. It just, compared to everything later, is just fine. The rest just became an utter mess. Season 4 was just too slow and just kind of like felt like everything is slowing down, and that's kind of like everything is just like empty. But I guess they tried to find their style, so you could give them the benefit of the doubt. Season 5 just felt like it was rushed. It just feels right now they're just rushing the story to just finish it and just do their own thing, but might as well just do your own thing instead. Without the brand girls, or use the brand girls for everything. Like, that's kind of like the problem with a lot of things. That they're trying to use the brand of a dead creator or anything as long as they can just benefit from it.
You know what we call that? Beating a dead horse.
Yep. Also, another thing to mention is that Season 5 was okay-ish compared to Season 6. A lot of people like to praise Season 6. Season 6 is numbingly boring. It's such a bad season. It's the season I'm like looked at and just like, why did you think this was a good idea?
So let me just say something about Ruby myself. I'm not the biggest Ruby fan. I'm really not. I thought season one
You shouldn't be.
I thought season 1 was okay. Season 2 was actually, no, season 2 was good. Season 3 was just and I just couldn't bring myself to see season 4, And but I have been keeping up with a little bit of the lore, a little bit of what's going on, etc.
The lore.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But we're not going to be talking about the lore at the moment. We might talk about it later, but right now we're going to talk about the news, about everything that's going on behind the scenes, which is worth mentioning, worth talking about. So, you know what's going on behind the scenes, or do you want me to?
I know a few things. I didn't really pay attention that much. I know that there is like the Justice League Ruby movie thing that they're trying to do, which is
two
weird.
Two movies.
Okay, I'm like, this is not the worst thing, but I also heard that there's like they're trying to build season 9 to be like really interesting and like more like old things, but I think they've just lost all the charm and everything, and like everything just like season 8 just I think ended up like about 2 years ago, and they haven't done anything since then. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are just not really interested. It's kind of like what happened to JoJo, but even worse.
What do you mean?
JoJo Part 6, it's like JoJo Part 6 just like lost all the hype. Let's just be honest about that.
No, it didn't. It's on a hiatus. Come on. Season 6
No, it came back.
Yeah, I know.
It's done. It's finished.
Yeah, but like, it's still good.
It is good, don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying people are just not really interested in it anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, the hype died in a way. It's not to say it's a bad season or it's a bad show or something bad happened. It's just not really as it used to be.
Okay, so let me say something about JoJo. And I think the reason why people aren't as hyped for JoJo anymore is not that they're not hyped, it's just the memes aren't as good, and the music for season 6 is not as good as the music was for season 5. Like, if I start...
Yeah... Although the story is pretty good.
The story is better. I'd say the story for season 6 is better than season 5. Because, you know what it leads to.
I know what it leads to, and I'm kind of currently watching it just to see it in animation. Because I had a little bit of a time to just get to part 3, and I'm like in episode 6 or whatever. I know where, like, I'm not going to say where I am just to not ruin it for people who haven't watched it yet. But it's like, it's really, 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 really good. It's like, yeah. I'm not saying part 5 is bad. I think old JoJo is like at least 7, if not 8.
What?
Okay, just old JoJo. What?
Which JoJo is 7 or an 8?
Which part is 7 for me? It's Stardust Crusaders. I don't really like Stardust Crusaders that much.
Stardust Crusaders.
No offense for people who love Stardust Crusaders.
Season 4?
Season 3.
Season 3. Oh no, season 3 is miserable.
Part 3.
Sorry, part 3 is miserable, yes. Okay, not miserable.
I'm not saying that part 3 is like the worst thing in the world, but it's not really that good.
Part 3 is the worst part. Part 3 is the worst part.
And it's not even a bad part.
It's an 8.
It's a good...
It's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's an 8. It's just not an S.
It's not a 10. It's not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like...
And I'm still finding it really weird that people find part 4 to be bad. And I was like, part 4 is amazing. What the hell are you talking about?
I'd even argue...
greatest world building.
Okay, I'd even argue that out of all the parts, part 4 has the most interesting art out of all of them. You know?
Is part 4.
Yeah, no, because part 4 has a very older art style, which I think fits. Like, okay, the whole point of JoJo is that it's a very specific art style that only when you watch JoJo, you're like, yes, that's JoJo. I've never seen that art style be duplicated in any other anime, because let's be honest for a second, 95% of all other anime is copy paste art style. Like,
yep.
JoJo, on the other hand, it looks like they're trying to mix a lot of Japanese animation with older American style comic books. It has very sharp very sharp edges to it instead of the circular edges to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also just really funny to me that in like the last part, or at least the show, because of the fact that it's like connected also to Warner's Brothers now, the studio that does that, is that they kind of just mention Batman a few times, even though you don't really see him, just because, you know, it's Warner Brothers. They want to show that they're mentioning him.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me.
Okay, so going back to talking about RWBY, so season 9 had a bunch of animators who collectively in the past like week or two have been posting on Twitter how they've been let go. And they basically, we're not talking about like new animators we're not just talking about new animators from the past year or two or 4 or 5 years. We're talking about people who have been doing this for over 9 years.
For a very long time.
9 years. Like, that's a long time. That's since like the beginning. You have people saying, my contract has not been renewed. We do not currently have anything beyond season not season, what's it called? 9. You know
what are you talking about?
The 9th season. But it has a different name. What's it called again? Not part.
Volume 9.
Yeah.
Volume 9.
Volume 9.
About the volume.
Yeah, Volume 9, exactly. They have no plans beyond Volume 9. They're not working at the moment on anything, because if RWBY doesn't have, not RWBY, if Rooster Teeth doesn't have any animators, who's going to be working on the Justice League RWBY crossover movies? You know?
Exactly.
Maybe they have a few people to finish it, but like, it really feels like Rooster Teeth is just trying to finish up contracts and dissolve itself. And that's really sad to me, because they have a lot of talent in Rooster Teeth.
The only thing that they're trying to still keep alive is Red versus Blue, I feel.
Really? That's still going? I stopped watching it after a year.
They're saying that they're going to kind of like trying to bring something back, because they tried to do something new with Red versus Blue. I haven't really watched the season 0, but I did watch Shadow's Family, because it was a short comedy thing that kind of like leaned back into the old roots. And a lot of people said that if they started with this and then went to the other story, people might as well just give it a chance, even though it wasn't a good story. But people said that it's kind of gave it a chance because it would be more interesting and they would like the characters. But, yeah, they kind of just did really a big oopsie on that one.
No, but you just have to look at like a lot of the stuff that people are leaving. Like, you have Erin Trush, who she was basically a big animator, and she's like, as some of you have guessed, today was my last day at Rooster Teeth. I don't have the words to express. I don't have the words to express how my time here has meant to me. At least not right now, but I'm thankful for my time on RWBY, and I am so grateful to have been a part of something truly incredible. And you basically see like a bunch of like, and she goes on, for the past 20-ish months, I would wake up and immediately work on the very show that made me want to be an animator. I would get to help to tell the very story that helped me find my purpose. There's no words. Getting to be a part of RWBY, my favorite volume, nonetheless, has been a dream come true, saying that logging off work for the day was hard. She basically goes on to say, oh, it was so wonderful, but it is what it is. And you see like Joel Mann, who was also a big animator. He was working on this for like 8.5 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, see ya, RWBY. Like, that's basically what he said. Like, he didn't say that, but like, all of these people are not going to have trouble finding more work, you know?
Yeah. It's the same thing as like some of the other creators that like decide to leave or left, but like are good ones, and just like, yeah, we're just not going to have a hard time finding a new job. No,
all of this happened because of like the allegations. You like, that's what I think. You know what allegations I'm talking about?
What allegations?
So they had.
I know the Blizzard allegations. I don't know other allegations because I don't really like to pay attention to these.
So Rooster Teeth had allegations, and it turned out to be true that they used to like. They used to call a bunch of their staff workers. Hey, they didn't pay them properly. Like, a lot of them said,
scumbags.
I worked there for a year for free before I got my first salary, and even that salary wasn't that great, you know?
Mm-hmm.
and like you had this, and you had like this one person who worked there. We're not going to name names, but they were basically saying they used to call me they used to call me slurs, like actual slurs, and it's like it turned out to be true, and they said there are even videos, like full videos of them calling me a nickname of that slur. And A, for the sake of the podcast, and B, we don't want to say slurs on the podcast, so we're not going to say the slur. We're not going to do anything like that.
We're just going to mention it.
We're just going to mention the fact that slurs were said in the company as a regular basis. They said that in the face of the company was very PG. The behind the scenes was quite the opposite.
Yep.
And anyways, you have a lot of people like saying, even though that the company itself is run by a lot of people who maybe shouldn't be running it anymore, the company itself still did a lot of good stuff. Like they brought in like a lot of good animators, and they gave them a fun show to work on. Because even though I'm not the person that watches RWBY, I know for a fact that RWBY had millions of fans. I know for a fact that it had millions of people who enjoyed working. Not millions of people worked on it, but hundreds of people who enjoyed working on it. You had millions of people who enjoyed watching it, and it became so popular, it even became a real anime, Like, there are studios in Japan who worked this...
they created an anime called, what is it called? Winter Kingdom, or... Whatever it's called, Ice Queendom. I think the name.
Yeah. And they basically redid like the entire season 1.
Kind of, not really, but kind of.
Basically, and I saw it and I was like, okay, this is cool, because that there are a couple of scenes there that they recreated quite well. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, I know a lot of it.
I didn't watch the entire anime of Ice Queendom, but I watched bits and pieces of it, and I thought that was interesting. I actually checked it out originally for one of my SFIs. I was like, maybe not, because it's RWBY and stuff. It just felt like something so special, that
yes,
because the story of RWBY is actually not a bad story. It's pretty decent.
It's actually pretty decent.
Like, you see a lot of bad stories out there, and that get way too much attention for no good reason. Like,
oh yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say that I'm going to get a lot of hate out from this from some people who listen to this. Perhaps, I don't know, but there's an anime called what is it called again? Blue something.
Blue Lock.
No. I'll remember it in a couple of minutes. I'll tell you the premise. The premise is that there's a guy who discovers that he's actually a devil, and his brother is a devil slayer and something like that. And basically they're trying to sorry, he's not a devil. His father is a devil. He's just the son of the devil, and they're trying to kill his father. And his brother is just not, and it's just, and a lot of people love to praise this as like this. I'll remember it at some point. I'll mention it again if I ever remember. Blue Exorcist. That's the name of the show. Blue Exorcist.
I think I heard about this one.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I said everything correctly. I just didn't remember the name of the show. So, Blue Exorcist is about about a boy who finds out that his father is a devil, and his brother, I don't remember if his brother is a twin brother or not a twin brother. It's like something weird like that. It might be a younger brother or might be an older brother. I don't remember everything. But all I remember is it was so dull, and people kept on saying on all of the forums, no, it's great, it's a 9 out of 10, and I watched it. I watched it from start to finish. I watched part of the second season, and it was miserably boring. I cannot chill. It was that bad. I cannot personally chill out a show that I think is bad. Every single show that I put out, I didn't put out much, but you know, I am working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that people watch the best of the best. I do not want to like say, hey yo, this show is just bad or it's just okay. I want people to be watching the best of the best shows that they may not have heard of, because people's time is worth, you know.
Yep.
And a lot of people watch a lot of bad anime because, let's be honest, 95% of anime out there is just terrible. Like,
there are a lot of like not really good anime as people think it is.
Yeah, and I'll say this: if I made an SFI about it, then I believe it's a really good and fun show, because it's okay. Because there are a lot of shows. I'm right now working on an SFI about a show that I think that is going to, like, it's a very specific type. I like in the intro I'm going to say it's, you know, it's if pure comedy isn't your thing, then this show is not for you. But if pure comedy is your thing, then
this is a show for you.
Yeah, you know, something along those lines. And it's just every time that you see people make, you know, talk about a show and tell you that it's so good. Like, I watch Bobo Bobo Bo, because that once the anime man was shilling for it, he said, oh no, yeah, it's pretty good. You watch it, it's bad, okay? Not even the good type of bad, like Zoid. Zoid is a good bad show. Have you ever seen Zoid?
What do you mean by a good type of bad?
Like a show that's bad, but it's still interesting, you know? Like, let's be honest, have you ever heard of Zoids?
Nope.
Okay, so Zoid is a mecha show. Like, it's pure mecha, basically, where the whole premise is you have like a main character who has, like, I shouldn't say a soul link, but like it's more like falls in love with, let's say, a big mecha, and he goes out and he fights with other people with mecha. It's very political, but like nobody cares about the politics. They don't want to see mecha beating up mecha, you know?
That makes sense.
And it's just a lot, and that's a good show. But like, you have shows that are just bad, like that people just love saying, no, it's a great show. You always want to be telling people what's the best stuff they could be watching, because that a lot of times I just want to be told if what I'm watching is going to be good or bad, because I don't want to watch something that's bad. I really don't.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like, there's a show that I'll admit I'm not the target audience for it, but but I can tell you it's good. Like Black Butler, Toradora, even Spy Family, which everybody loves, and I'm the only person who thinks it's meh or even bad. Not bad, but like I just don't want to watch it. Like, a lot of times people are just not able to see if something is good or bad. And when you're able to strip away the animation from the story and, you know, read the story and say if it's good or bad, you know if a show is going to be good or bad.
Really?
It's not always the case, but that's like a general rule. If you're able to read the premise and say if you're interested in it or not. Afterwards, obviously. Because if you did that to Ghibli movies, you'd be like, why did anybody even care about Ghibli movies? The premise is boring. Like, there's a new meme going around right now. Do you know what the meme is?
What?
What's the plot of Spirited Away?
Ah, I've seen that meme. That meme a lot.
Because
so what's even in Spirited Away?
Because I remember the plot because I actually rewatched Spirited Away a year or two ago, and it's still like fresh-ish in my mind. But like, I agree with them. Once you strip away the animation, if all you have is animation, then what do you have to offer? You know, the whole point of, let's say, a show like the big three is the plots are memorable. Everybody remembers, like, everybody can, you know, put in their mind what started Naruto, like what the tournament arc of the Chunin exam, everything, you know, Sasuke leaving the village, them fighting for Sasuke to come back and losing, and then basically them doing like a bunch of filler till the end of Naruto until they basically started.
Oh god, the filler for Naruto that took a year and a half in the end was absolutely miserable.
Yeah, but it had some cool.
Bad.
There was some good filler, like when they go to find the beetle. That was good filler, in my opinion. I enjoyed it.
Beetle?
The Beetle.
Oh, Beetle.
The Beetle.
Yeah, I know.
Like that was good filler.
Him. I like him.
Yeah. Who? What's his name? The Beetle guy. His name will pop back to me. Yeah, it's not important. The point is that like you have these shows that you're like, oh yeah, I remember what happened. But if I asked you to tell me what happened with Kiki's Delivery movie, you know what I'm talking about?
Kiki's Delivery movie? No.
Just a second. It's a Ghibli movie. Delivery.
Of course it is.
Kiki's Delivery Service. Sorry, it's a Ghibli movie, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I love this movie so much." And then when you ask them to tell you what is it about, they're like, "It's about a bakery, and she delivers." And I'm like, "Okay, what else?" And they're like, "And this happens and that," and I'm like, "You really don't know what went on." And it's the same thing like with The Matrix. Like, people don't know what The Matrix was about. If they knew what The Matrix was really about, they'd be like, the first movie is enough. Like, why do you think a lot of people say that the Matrix franchise as a franchise is terrible? Because it is terrible. The first movie is good. The rest of them are just bad, you know?
Yeah, the first movie is all you need. Then you just expand on something that is unnecessary to expand on.
Yeah, because everybody's going there to see, like, you know, the cool visuals, even like the basic idea of while they're still in the game world or in the virtual reality or whatever is still cool. But the moment you go into the real world and you start, you know, fighting and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't need this. It's just boring, you know? It's just another terrible dystopia.
Yep.
And that's like my little tangent about like this entire thing, you know. And
fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, I did watch. I did watch the latest what's it called video? Ryan George. Yeah.
Ryan George video.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on from this because this is a bit. This is getting a bit too heavy. Let's talk about something interesting that happened. Do you
want to talk about something fun, or you want to talk about something heavy that is just because we have a lot of things that we want to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about. Okay, so I watched this on the Philip DeFranco show a couple of days ago. And these next two topics, but I'm going to start with this one, and I think it's worth mentioning. A bunch of nurses were fired from a hospital because they put online, you know, a TikTok trend of icks that they have against patients. Now, you'd think that these, you know what an ick is?
What is an ick?
An ick is like something that ticks them off. You know, something that annoys them. But this isn't personal. It's more about people. They're talking about people who don't have the idea of common sense, and they're like, just have a little bit of common sense. That's all. We're not asking you to like, you know, they're not like these nurses. They're not like talking about, oh, this person has like an ugly mark on their skin, and that's disgusting. No. They're talking about like simple things. Like, let's say a woman just gave birth and she comes to the nurse and asks her, how much does my baby weigh? She's like, I can't weigh your baby if you don't give me the baby to put her on the thing, you know, those kind of stuff. Like a nurse who walks to the station to let's say put down a sheet of paper about some paperwork that she filled, and somebody asks her, a patient asks her, did you fill out my paperwork? And she's like, no, I'm literally doing it right now. You know, a little bit of common sense, you know, like it just, a lot of people need to like figure out a bunch of common sense for just the basic stuff. A lot of people just don't treat nurses like they should, and then people were like complaining about the nurses. Why are you talking about these kinds of stuff? And they're like, just have a little bit of common sense, you know.
People just think one thing, that the world is just born to serve them, And a lot of things that are happening right now is just feel like a lot of people just trying to leave the endless now, that are trying to kind of like get as much as possible and don't care about the next generation, just care about themselves. They don't really care. And yes, I took it from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Sue me. Anyway, they care about the entire idea of like, that society... What?
Please don't sue us. Please don't sue us. Anyway, yeah, continue.
I'm just joking. It's a concept that I really just going to say this because I just see it a lot that is happening. That people are just trying to leave the now. They're trying to be happy with the now. They don't really care about their future. They don't really care about the next generation. They just care about themselves. They're just saying, "Oh, this will be a future generation problem," and we see this just becomes amounting more and more and more and more and more, and it just becomes absolutely unbearable and very stupid way to just do things. Because like, look at how things are so expensive right now. Look how things are just like collapsing as a society, and just like, nah, we're just going to be trying to be the richest piece of people alive, trying to exhaust our planet, and everything will be fine. And I know it's kind of like went to a tangent of like this, but it's also just kind of comes to, you know, people face to face. It's just like, I treat you badly because I think that everything belongs to me. That's kind of how that feels.
Yeah, so speaking of the economy being bad, this is something that I want to talk about a little bit. Do you know how bad real estate is at the moment?
No, but I know that it's absolutely miserable.
It is miserable. Do you know how much it costs to rent a house in the city that we live in?
Nope.
This is a three bedroom apartment, okay? 3-bedroom apartment in
$1 million
for 1 month. It costs.
Oh, for rent. No, I'm talking about
rent. $4,000.
Rent. You're talking about $4,000.
Yes.
Or you mean 4,000?
No.
Where in this city?
Okay,
exactly.
I'm going.
Not telling me exactly. Just write me down that place.
No problem. I'll write it down.
Because I know in the place that we live around, you can still get it for like 1,000, maybe a little bit less than $1,000.
2,000. It's around 2,000 in our area now. Like 2,000.
Depend where, because I found some apartments that are like in 1,000. Oh, but you're talking about 3.5 rooms, not talking about like an actual small one for a couple.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
It's not a joke. I looked it up. My mother told me this a couple of days ago. I first didn't believe her, but yeah.
So ridiculous. Like, life here and just in general in the world is so ridiculous.
No, but it's not just here. It's also in America. It's also in England. It's pretty much everywhere. Everywhere, like, real estate is becoming so expensive because that the economy is bad. Because that some idiot decided to rip out $7 billion out of the economy, if you know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's gonna be we may talk about him in another podcast because that's also worth mentioning. My God, it pisses me off. Really? Yeah, maybe we may talk about him, but man, like that entire thing pisses me off. And then the economy gets so bad because of COVID and because of crypto and because of X, Y, and Z, and then like people are like, why aren't people buying stuff during Black Friday?
I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I'm saying this sometimes, and it's just like you need to reset the entire world. Not saying like massacre people, but just like reset economy. Because economy is so bad right now. I
know what you mean. Like, go to a saving point 10 years ago, write down everything, tell them, listen, I know this sounds cultish, I know this sounds, but you gotta believe me, this is the future for the next 10 years. Go back to 2012 when people thought that the world was going to end, tell them, listen, in the next 10 years, Donald Trump's gonna be president, a virus is going to be released into the world that's going to shut down everything. Your girlfriend that you love so much is going to break your heart. Get with the program. No, I was kidding.
Are you trying to just ruin my life right now? I'm just kidding.
Kanye West becomes an anti-Semite. Get with the program. Yeah, it's just so crazy just how the world has become so indefinitely.
The world just became just painful to live in.
Yeah. Speaking of the world becoming painful to live in, let's talk about the last subject before we finish for today's episode. And that is people being little shits, or better yet, kids being little shits.
Being?
Still are.
Oh, brats.
Brats, yes. So basically, Florida is going right now through a huge problem with teachers and staff members. Basically, a couple of days ago, 50 teachers on the spot quit in the state of Florida, which is a lot.
Oh, great.
Sorry.
That's
I said
just
50.
Lovely.
It says more than 50. And we're not using this as to talk about Florida as a state. We're using this to talk about the fact that Florida is a very good example for something that's going on in the world right now. And that is that a lot of
We're
kids...
raising bunch of little brats instead of just raising humans.
Yes, because kids realize these days that there are so many laws protecting them, which you'd think it's a good thing that the laws exist. It's a bad thing that the kids know that the laws exist because that they can take advantage of these laws. And I think that's a very bad thing, because then you have kids fornicating.
It's a good thing that it protects them, though. It is good that it protects them. It's just bad that they're just like taking advantage of it all the time.
Precisely, because let me tell you something. With myself and Unfit, when we were kids, A, we did not know that laws like these existed. B, we did not take advantage of laws like these. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so you have a bunch of kids who are who are skipping class, who are having sex on the premise, who are basically urinating everywhere, and it's like nobody wants to be around that. Because the whole point of COVID ending is that people go back to school and they have good times learning with actual people rather than sitting in front of a computer screen and try to learn that way. Because as much as AI can replace a lot of things, it still can't really replace teaching. You know what I mean? And you have
you can, like, no offense, but I don't think teaching is going to be replaced for a very, very, very long time, because the human interaction is just necessary.
The human nature, like the fact that someone actually is there, that you're learning. We learn better from mimicking from humans rather than from machines.
Yeah.
Like,
also to mention the fact that it just hurts my feelings as like a teacher myself going to be. It just, why would you just do that? Bite the hand that feeds you, the one that teaches you to be a better person.
You want me to tell you something that you don't know?
It's really, 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 really bad.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that you don't know. For a period of a time in my life, I was a teacher. I
think you told me
I
that.
don't think I ever told you that. I taught math.
I think I told you a little bit of that, not really talking about it.
Okay, so
but...
I'll talk about it a little bit. So years and years and years ago, we're talking like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I taught in an elementary school for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade advanced mathematics. And for 6th grade, I also taught a little bit of computer coding once a week for the kids who are doing really, really well, so that they can have on their report card in the end of the year, we took a programming class, and that would look good for them going into middle school, you know?
Yeah.
So I did all of that.
I think I do.
I did all of that for a year, and my God, these kids were being little shits. They were being brats.
I can tell you today that kids just act like crap when I did like a pre-test lesson for my things on my college, and it's like they weren't really that bad. They were just like didn't really pay attention. And I'm a person who, like, as much as it doesn't really sound to you like that, and it's like I know how to command attention when I want to.
No, I know you do.
I know how to be charismatic.
I also know how to do it about very specific things. Like, I can do it about math, and I can do it about computer sciences, about coding, and that's pretty much it. Because if there's one thing I know, kids don't want to be talked down to. I do know that. You have to talk to them level-headed, because they are still human beings, you know? You can't treat them like kids who watch Barney all day. I don't know what kids are into these days. Sorry, Baby Shark.
You can't reach them?
Yeah, you can talk to them.
Like kids who watch Barney?
Oh,
oh, that's a shame.
Oh my god. I don't know. Fun fact, my oldest brother, was in the screening for Barney before Barney went out.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the screening. He wasn't like he wasn't like in the Barney show itself. It's just they came to his kindergarten. They did a little bit of a screening to see if kids are going to be into it. They were into it, so they continued on. I think like I don't know if my brother's class was like the only one. I think like they only did it for like very selective. Like they didn't just, you know, go around telling people there's a new show coming out, Barney, you should watch it. It was like, are kids going to be into it? Let's give them a little bit of a screening. And my brother was in that screening. Brother, yes. So like, you have a lot of kids these days who just need to be smacked. That's the truth. Like,
oh god,
if not
such a terrible society that we
if
live
not
in.
by adults, then there should be a machine. You know what?
Like seriously, it's just so
I'm obviously
Recently,
kidding. I'm obviously kidding about, you know, hitting kids, because I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be going back. But it's. But in my mind, you just want to smack these kids.
I mean, that makes sense.
Because you know how
kids like that are just
like
the worst.
They don't listen. They may like, and these are like, if you don't want to be in class, don't be in class. But like, if you're gonna be in class and you're gonna be a little rascal, I don't want you here. Go be a rascal outside. Go be the principal's problem. Don't be my problem. You know.
Get off my class lawn thing.
Yeah, and it's not just teachers who left. That's the whole point. Teachers, bus drivers, lunch people working in the cafeteria. You have so
basically lunch
but
ladies.
like, you know, it's here's.
I get you.
Yeah,
but lunch
like
ladies.
A lot of laws. Here's something that they say. A lot of these laws feel like they're handcuffing the staff. Now, I know you're thinking you know, it's a good thing that the laws are handcuffing the staff, and to a degree it is, because, you know,
sometimes,
but like
yes.
in sometimes it's like these kids are never going to learn. They're never going to be a part of societies. They're going to be these little brats who think that everything comes to them and everybody's going to protect them no matter what. And like, every day when I go to work, well, I don't go to work, I work from home, but every time I talk to a boss, I have to make sure I'm walking around eggshells when I'm talking to people who are above me, because I know that I am replaceable. Everybody likes to believe they're not replaceable, but everybody is replaceable.
No, everybody is replaceable.
Everybody is replaceable.
Everyone is replaceable.
The principal is replaceable. The teacher is replaceable.
Even I am replaceable, and I am the least replaceable person you'll ever see.
You know, I'm going to start auditions for a replacement for the podcast, because Unfit here is pissed. No, I was kidding. I'm kidding. No, but like, a lot of people don't realize that teachers, nurses, and a lot of the most important people in society, who are a dime in a dozen, that pool is becoming smaller. There are less people who want to be nurses. There are less people who want to be teachers, because
of course they are.
Because as much as the money is guaranteed in teaching and nursing, and the money is guaranteed, it's not good money, but it is guaranteed money. It's a guaranteed salary within them. A lot of people say that it's just not worth the mental stress that comes with being a teacher or a nurse.
People just don't want it.
We have to learn to treat people better. Like, it's sad to say, but a lot of kids these days, not all, but a very significant amount of kids these days have not learned the lesson of treat others the way you want to be treated yourself.
Yep, they haven't
like
learned that.
I know that for a fact that sometimes when I'm going to the store and the cashier is busy on her phone, I give her the extra minute, you know, to send that reply, because if I was in her place, I'd want to get that minute. But yeah, and if I was in her shoes, I'd want to get that extra minute, and I'm not really hurrying anywhere. It's not a big deal. When she says, "Just give me a second," and I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll just wait here," because I know for a fact if I'm going to a person who's doing this, not to bring anything that can be melting, like ice cream or something like that. I don't like ice cream all that much, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's smarter to not even bring these things, just to make sure also that like you're just, how should I say this? Not wasting time is the word, but like it's going to melt anyway. Just wait a little
so it's
bit.
like I'm just waiting there. I'm waiting for the cashier, and that's like something nice. I think that I do. That's like not something that's expected from me, but it's something that society wishes people would do. That they would be very lenient towards people in very not comfortable positions, because guess what, we need cashiers, we need nurses, we need teachers. These are things that without them society would fall. We need bus drivers, we need truck drivers. We do not necessarily need like a lot of other people who are making the big bucks. You know what I mean? Like we don't really need on our day-to-day life lawyers. We don't need people writing code all the time.
Speaking of which, lawyers, did you hear that the head lawyer in our country kind of earned now basically almost $40,000
O's
a month?
Oh, gets paid?
Yep.
Baby.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's basically my entire salary for a year when you think about it. Well, maybe a little bit less than that, but still, it's a lot of money.
When
a
you
normal person
no. When you add
50,000.
in taxes, we don't even make close to that.
Yep, and she probably doesn't really pay taxes.
No,
that much.
yeah. It's crazy to me. I did not know that she made that much. I don't make that much.
Like I said, democracy kind of failed right now. It just feels like democracy
feels like the world
failed.
isn't fair to like the regular man to like day-to-day person. Like the person
It just, and it's not to say like, oh, we're just now going to create a whole new, people under us, banner under us. We're not crazy. We just understand that it's just like
it also feels
life today is just not fair.
It also feels like
just fix it.
People who are making the $30,000 to $40,000 day to day aren't doing anything to earn that money.
Not to mention the fact that like, what are you doing with all this amount of money except just like make people jealous? Like, what are you doing with it? Not a whole lot. A lot of money is just sitting in your banks and can be used for actually helping people, but like, nah, I'm just not going to help the other person. I'm just going to keep it with me.
Yeah.
I mean, you are allowed to enjoy it if you earned it. Like, you are allowed to enjoy it. I'm not saying you're not. Like, I'm going to say this, like, even okay, like, let's say, for example, just taking it just for names, Elon Musk, he's allowed to enjoy his money. It's just really weird that he needs that much amount of money. You don't need that much amount of money for anything.
Well, we need money. Money. How does Ryan George say it? How does Ryan George say it with money? He has a way.
I like money. I don't remember how to say that exactly.
Yeah,
I like that.
The astronaut.
That's the thing I like.
He even made ads fun to watch. The astronaut is fun.
Hi, hello there. I'm the astronaut. I'm here in the ad space to talk to you about
Until we're getting paid, we're not ripping him off quite yet.
You understand what I mean?
I do. Yeah, I think this is a good place to end the episode. Wrap things up. So,
sometimes disappointing that we end up on a sour note, but it is what it is, as they say, because sometimes it's just kind of terrible.
Yeah, we're also like a little bit mentally exhausted from this. Because at like...
Oh yeah, I'm taking a break next week. I'm so happy that I'm finally doing that.
Oh, that's cool. So, to let everybody know,
yep,
I am Unharm. This is my co-host for the podcast, Unfit. We both run our own channels. My friend here runs a channel for Yu-Gi-Oh! And other things. Perhaps there will be more things in the future. We don't know.
You can find me on Teamndl on YouTube, and you can find here on this channel the Unfit Crew, which basically was supposed to be, like I mentioned before, my D&D stuff, but now it's something else and more
It's
fun
evolved.
for me to do.
It evolved.
Yep.
Like a Pokemon.
Also, yeah. Also, you can find our friend here, which is dragonunharm on dragonunharm on YouTube, and of course on Twitch.
Yep.
What she's doing sometimes cool things there. I wish I had the time. I'm a little bit too busy, and I also just really do have other things. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, so if you enjoy social deduction stuff and anime and sometimes someone rambling off about something, come on to my channel. There's a lot of fun stuff there. I actually upload a couple of times a week now. I upload anywhere from 3 to 4 times a week, which
yeah, I noticed.
Which is pretty fun for me, you know.
It's good that you're enjoying doing your thing.
I'm also doing a lot of fun things because I got this. I was in a game of Town of Salem the other day, and I had a guardian angel, and they started acting all yandere to me, and I was like, I got myself a video.
Oh, that video.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, so speaking of which, before we go, did you know that YouTube censors the word yandere? Like, if you upload something with the word yandere in it, like if it's out of like the ordinary of your usual crowd, it'll not show up in their feed.
Why?
I don't know. I had to censor it twice before it showed up.
What the hell is happening?
Like, it's not a bad word.
Yeah, what the hell is happening to this world?
Anyways, so we're gonna just end it right here. So we will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.